Today we're talking about weight loss, but you're perfect just the way you are. Don't ever change, sport. Welcome to Comic Misconceptions, the only show that talks about comic books on our channel so far. I'm your host, Scott Niswander, and today we're going to be talking about a top 5 list that I like to do on every 5th episode. And this time we're doing top 5 weight loss stories in comic books. So because it's January, it's the end of January, statistics show that sadly most of you who made resolutions are about to give up or have already given up on your New Year's resolution. But to that I say, don't. I don't know, we're still trying to go for our resolution of 10,000 subscribers, so if you want to help us out, click that subscribe button down below. Shameless plugs, but I digress. So obviously one of the biggest resolutions of all time has to be to lose weight or eat healthier, start exercising, all of that jazz. So I figured, what better time than to break out my knowledge of weight loss stories and comic books. You'd be surprised that there are actually quite a few of them. And once again, like all of my top 5 lists, this is not in any particular order. This is just 5 stories that I think are fun. So with that said, let's move on with it to my number 5. So last week I asked you guys, what voluminous Asgardian of the Warriors 3 weighs over 1,400 pounds? Creative Bot Studios says Volstagg. Period. Fact. And that's right, but I do miss the days when people would put exclamation marks, like a lot of them, at the end of their answer. No caps lock though, let's be classy. Volstagg of the Warriors 3 is one of Thor's closest friends and is always seeming to be eating something.
You've managed to consume 4 wild boar, 6 pheasant, a side of beef, and 2 casks of ale. Shame on you, don't you care?
Do not mistake my appetite for apathy!
So clearly he has some girth to him, but as we see in a recent story from Thor, God of Thunder number 6, he's had a significant girth reduction in the way that he looks. He was captured by the God Butcher, who starved him as a part of torture, and now he looks all not girthy. Side note, I really enjoyed this arc, you should go read it sometime, but probably not the healthiest way to drop a couple pounds. Let's move on. You know her, you love her. She's Etta Candy, Wonder Woman's friend and occasional sidekick, known for being overweight and hilarious to read, but in later years she did get taller and thinner and blonder for some reason. But unfortunately, even after she lost all that weight, she still sees herself as fat, which is ridiculous. I mean, Etta is awesome to read because of her personality and sense of humor. Who cares what she looks like? But as we see from this story from Wonder Woman number 78, Etta and Wonder Woman are out shopping for dresses, and then Etta faints because she has just not been eating anything. Apparently, years of standing next to Wonder Woman have made her self-conscious about her body, and she just wants to look like Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman says very bluntly, and I quote, "You never will." She says that Etta will never have her powers, her strength, or her thinness, which is kind of a jerky way to say it, but I mean, there is a difference between getting thin and getting healthy, and that's all I'll say about that. So great, a couple minutes into the episode, we've already talked about torture and eating disorders, so what do you say we move on to the fun stuff, huh? Freddie Dukes, aka Blob.
You just call me Blob?
Yes, I did. I'm surprised you heard it, though. I assumed that my words would just be trapped in orbit around your body forever.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you. Insensitive joke? Check. But Blob is a mutant and occasional antagonist to the X-Men. But in a story arc called House of M, in which 99% of all mutants on Earth lose their powers, he just becomes plain old Freddie Dukes. Well, maybe not plain, because he does have
a little bit of excess skin, though.
It's actually a little bit worse than that. Here he is in a one-shot called House of M the Day After, in which he was so horrified by the way that he looked that he tried to slit his throat, but he couldn't because there was too much skin in the way, and I thought we were moving on to the lighter subjects, but we just talked about suicide, so maybe keep the train rolling, keep it going. Eventually, in Uncanny X-Men number 500, we see that he has become a movie star and fitness guru once his skin condition has cleared. And he also got a nice bowl cut, because that's what the ladies love. These next 2 stories are pretty similar because unlike the previous stories where we take an overweight person and make them, drop a lot of pounds, instead we're getting a relatively slim person and making them become really fat and then making them go back to normal. So my number 2 is a man we've talked about before. He was in one of my other top 5 videos. His name is Matter Eater Lad, and if you want to watch me talk about him some more, link in the description. It all takes place in Adventure Comics number 345 when Matter Eater Lad is going to be executed by some sort of death ray, and then Superman jumps in the way trying to block it, but instead it just kind of slips around his body, hits Matter Eater Lad instead anyway, like it was going to, but when it came in contact with Superman's super body, it changed the atomic particles of the ray and made it into a shape-changing death ray instead of a death-bringing death ray. Science checks out. Just a few issues later, in Adventure Comics number 351, he appears to be fine again, really out of nowhere, because someone had invented a serum that is instant weight reduction. It also, he invented another one that can regrow limbs. Sadly, these two seemingly useful serums never appear again in all of comics, which is a shame. Lois Lane, Superman's main squeeze and victim of a weight gain ray in Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, number 5. This is my top pick for this category because it is bonkers. Seriously, for example, Lois can't fit into any of her old dresses, so she has to go to her neighbor, who's an overweight lady, and shops at the fat girls shop, cause that's... yeah. Her added weight breaks down a car, and then Superman is there luckily, but he's gonna be a jerk about it. I mean, the guy can lift, okay? Yet he has to go around making comments like, "A girl like you is quite a load. I'm more used to flying Lois Lane around. You would make 2 of her, jerk." But here's the kicker, you guys. The reason that Lois Lane is overweight like this is because of Superman, and he knew about it. It's not like it was an accident like it was with Matter Eater Lad. No, Lois Lane was chasing down some sort of murderer or something, and Superman was like, oh, you know what? I have to protect Lois or else this murderer is probably gonna recognize her and try to kill her. So what I'm gonna do is shoot her with a fat ray from some scientist friend of mine, and then no one's gonna recognize her. So he did this without her permission, and he was fully aware that she was, you know, gained some weight overnight, so he knew that he was talking to Lois when he was being a jerk about it, about the whole car thing. He reverses the growth ray, and Lois Lane will be back to her normal self by morning, but in the meantime, she is treated to a lovely dinner by Superman where she stuffs her face with yum-yums. So that's at least 2 times that Superman has caused somebody to gain weight, but don't worry, I'm sure he'll get his comeuppance. And also, so many things have happened to Lois Lane, so many crazy, ridiculous things that I think we might talk about some more of them pretty soon. Hint, hint. Subtle wink. So what do you guys think? Do you like my top 5 picks of this kind of category? Did I miss one of your favorites? Please let me know by commenting in that section right down there where all the comments go. I'd like to call it the comment section. And now we move on to one of my favorite things to do, the weekly trivia challenge. 10 score and 5 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was born, kind of. He will have been born on February 12th, which just so happens to fall on a Wednesday this year, guys. So why not talk about the bearded legend's appearance in comic books? So this week's trivia challenge is, what friend of Superman believed that one of their previous incarnations was responsible for the death of Abraham Lincoln? If you know what the right answer is, or just want to take your best guess, you can do so in the comments below, and if you're right, you could be featured on the show next week. Much more Superman things to come in the next couple weeks. Totally on accident, I didn't realize, but there's so much stuff there, I could go on forever, but we won't. We'll end it. And if you want to have the inside scoop on upcoming episodes of Comic Misconceptions, please follow NerdSync on Instagram, where I'm going to be posting some panels from comics that we'll be talking about in future episodes. But until then, you guys, get started on the weekly trivia challenge. Green screen. I don't even know what I'm going to put here yet. I hope it's cuddly.
Come on, you smelly bastard.
Looks cuddly. Alrighty, my friends, we are off next week as a part of our new schedule that we'll be doing Comic Misconceptions every other week. Remember to hit that big sexy subscribe button so you can stay updated on all things NerdSync, and I will see you guys right here next time for more Comic Misconceptions, more things that you thought you knew about comics. See ya. Dunn then starts hearing thoughts going through his brain that are not his own. He learns he can read minds, and after some other tests, he discovers that it's not just his mind that is amplified, it's his eyesight as well. In one of the weirdest scenes to read for me personally, he looks up into the sky, views the planet Mars, and then watches a tree fight a beam of light, because those are the aliens that are on the planet Mars.